One of the most prominent themes in A Raisin in the Sun is greed. While Ruth, Lena, and Benitha wanted for the $10,000 to be invested toward the family, Walter wanted to invest the money into his personal interests, his dream, a liquor store. However, the money was invested in a house and Walter's dream was crushed. But his mother, Lena, seeing Walter in despair, entrusted the remaining money in his care. Inevitably, Walter naively gave away all the remaining money to Willie Harris, who was the coordinator of the liquor store arrangement. Walter and his family were going to have a new home, a new life, and a place they could finally call their own. They could start a new, fresh future. Ruth would have a big kitchen to cook in. Travis would have his own room and bed to sleep in. The incoming baby would have a place to sleep as well. And Benitha would have the funding to get herself through medical school and become a doctor. But because of Walter's greed, they lost the remaining $6,500. Walter's greed not only crushed his dream, but everyone else's as well.
The poem Avarice by George Herbert displays the same theme of greed as A Raisin in the Sun. The poem explains the power of money specifically, and how too much of it or abusing it can lead to the downfall of man. Herbert compares money to a dark cave or ditch, which one will fall into if entrapped by the evils of greed. On the surface, wealth seems fresh and fine, but as money works its dark magic on people, it is actually base and low and poor and dirty on the inside. Money is personified as being the bane of bliss and the ruin of happiness. This is exactly what happens to Walter and his family in the play. The lower-class family is in need of money for everyday needs, but Walter wants the money to start his liquor store. This would have been appropriate under different circumstances, but as Walter's family is in need of money for Benitha's education and for Travis and the new baby on the way, he should have been thinking of their needs before his own. However, his greed for investment money increases until he takes the money his mother so lovingly entrusted to him and plans to use it for his own benefit. When all the money is lost, the family has lost everything they could have had and would have had, including hope. In this case, Walter's greed did not lead to only his own downfall, but his whole family's. The greed is prominent throughout the whole play and is the main turning point of the story, as it increases leading up to the climax, and then decreases once Walter realizes his mistake, although by now it is too late, and the family must acquire money somewhere else.
The story The Selfish Giant by Oscar Wilde tells a story about a giant who builds a wall around his magnificent garden after he finds children playing in it. Winter is the only season that will venture into the garden, as the other seasons do not like how the giant removed the children. Then one morning, the giant sees a special boy struggling to get into the tall tree. The giant feels sad and goes to help the boy. When the boy is in the tree, the giant realizes his selfishness and tears down the wall around the garden so the children can play. When the giant says, "My own garden is my own garden," he expresses his selfishness just like Walter did when he invested all of his money along with his sisters without even considering the consequences. And for that, the giant was neglected spring and suffered through the never-ending winter and frost. And in the end, when the giant knocked down the wall, he allowed the children to be happy and play in the garden, just as Walter wanted his family to be happy by moving into Clybourne Park. Overall, the giant was really very sorry for what he had done. Both the giant and Walter recognized their mistakes and remedied them.